afternoon and welcome back to the Retired Guy's Garage. Well, what we got going on today is we've got a starter problem on the zero turn. Seems like I've been working on this a lot lately. I don't know why that is. Anyway, it's not that old. It's only, what, three years old? I don't know. Anyway, might be time to trade it in on another one. Who knows? But anyway, we got a starter going bad on it. So let me show you what it's doing. Of course, now that I'm trying to show you what it's doing, it's going to start right up. Guaranteed, right? Okay. It's just doing the click. So, starter's got a dead spot in it, just like a car starter. Back in the old days, the old Chevys and stuff. The Bendix would go bad in the starter, and they'd get a bad spot in the armature, I guess. And the starter would have a dead spot and would start until you kept clicking it until you get past that spot. And then it would start. So, same thing happening here. That's exactly what's happening here. So, we've got a new starter. Brand spanking new, right off the old Amazon website. So that's going to be that's what we're going to be putting in, and also it's going to be time to do some maintenance on this thing. Boy, I wish I could talk today. So we're going to do a tune-up, oil change, air filter, fuel filter, new shut-off valve, etc., etc. So the fuel shut-off valve has been stuck in the open position for quite a while, so it needs to be changed out as well. So yeah. Without any further ado, let's get to it. Of course, always, I'll drop a link down at the bottom to all the parts that I put in. We got everything off of Amazon, so I'll make sure I drop links to the parts. So, stick with me, bring it right back, and we'll get into this. Let's get the starter on first. All right, so on this one, starter is right down here. So, we'll have to take off the power wire for it down at the bottom of it, and then there's two bolts that hold it into the engine. I'm hoping I can keep this fuel line out of the way. Should be able to get that bolt out. That's in between that and the block. So anyway, so that's it. 3 bolts and she's out. Looks like I don't know, 12 millimeter and 10 millimeter maybe. Yeah, looks like it. Yep, that's what it looks like. All right, so let's get this thing in and move on to the fun stuff, the tune-up stuff. Stick with me. Be right back. All right, so this is an Odell brand starter. I don't know if I had to pay extra for the all silver or chrome model. I'm not sure. Actually, never used this brand before, but we'll see what happens. So I've actually already gone ahead and pre-loosened all the bolts, got them broke free. So. So I didn't have to mess around with all that while I was on camera, but maybe one of these days I'll actually figure out how to fast forward through all this stuff. And yeah, probably not. Let's be honest. All right. So on this starter system, this is a single wire starter system that runs through a relay, starter relay, kind of like on the old Fords. Which is right up under here. So there's actually no power at the starter wire right now. The only time there's power at the starter wire is when you turn the key to the start position, and then it trips the relay, which feeds wire the starter wire. So kind of nice. You don't have to worry about disconnecting the battery on this one. All right. Alright, got another ground wire on that one. Like I always do with my air tools, I put some air tool oil in it before I started and just blew it all over the side of the side of the lawnmower, so that's not good. So yeah, there's actually a second ground wire on the bolt, so I didn't realize that was there. I know there's definitely a ground wire on the other side. Let's get that one out. All right, and out it comes. Doesn't look too bad, actually. But does seem to be the correct one. Excellent. All right, let's set that aside for the time being. Slide that up in place. This ground wire is kind of jammed on the bolt here, so it's not allowing me to turn the bolt. There we go. Alright, well that definitely did not start. Let's make sure it's the right threads. It is. Alright, so we'll leave that one out. Let's start with the other side. Yeah, let's loosen that off just a touch. There we go. Nope, sorry about that. Taking you all along for the ride. I'll try not to do that again. Okay, starter bolts are tight. I'm going to go shut that compressor off before everybody goes down. Small shop problems. Alright. Now we just need to get the starter wire reattached down at the bottom. All right. Well, let's see if she fires. More air tool oil all over the place. All right, well, fingers crossed, we're going to turn the key on and this thing will fire right up. Nope. That's not even clicking. Interesting. Battery. Ooh, I have no battery power. What would that be? Well, that's interesting. What did I forget to hook up? All right, well, I'm gonna have to dig into this a little bit and find out what I did, because I clearly did something wrong. Interesting. All right, well, let's dig into this and find out what happened. All right, well, I found the culprit. I missed a wire, but, you know, that happens. Missed the ground wire. Let's get that hook back up again. Yep, got to have all them wires hooked up, that's for sure. All right, let's see what happens. Well, I got my hour meter back on, so that must be a good sight. That must be a good start. Let's see what happens. Nice. That one don't work either. All right, well, I guess we're going to be putting a starter relay in this thing too. Interesting. Okay, well, that'll be the next project. But we're going to do some maintenance on this thing first. Very good. Excellent. Gotta love it. All right, stick with me and we'll get some maintenance done on this. Well, we'll wait for the noisy truck to go by real quick. So I'm fairly sure I've already told y'all this many times, but this is not this. Let me start that again. So this is Husqvarna Z254. It's a 24 horse, 54-inch deck. But this one's got the Kawasaki motor on it. Does not have the Kohler motor. I've never been a fan of the Kohler motors. I know y'all are I'm gonna get the hate mail. I understand. But anyway, just a personal preference. I prefer the Kawasaki motors on these. I've always had better luck with them, and that's just that's my own personal experience. But your results may differ. Anyway, so what we're going to do, we've got new spark plugs, new fuel filters. For some reason, they always give me 2 in these kits. I don't know why. I don't know if they want me to put 2 in it, but I don't really think we need to do that. And some new fuel line. Yeah, probably not going to use this. The fuel line's on there is just fine. Oil filter. And new air filter. So, like I said, as always, I'm going to throw that back in the box for the time being. I'm not going to change the oil on it today. Unfortunately, I was remiss and I did not stop at Walmart and pick myself up some oil. Should have just ordered the oil when I ordered the kit, but I didn't. So I'm not going to change the oil today, but I'm going to do the rest of the tune-up on it. So let's start with getting this filthy oil air filter out of here. Let's see if I can get this open, which is not cooperating. Luckily, I have scissors handy off camera. Alright, so like I said, this is a 24 horse Kawasaki motor. So basically just to, in order to change the filter, air filter, there's 2 handles right on the end here, and it's even conveniently labeled for you that says lift here. Pop that open, and as you can see, it is filthy. And we're going to go ahead and pop this up. I'm going to loosen up this clamp. That's going in the trash. Blew out all the dead grass that was in there and dirt and stuff. Conveniently, they put a thumb screw clamp on this, so you don't even need a tool to get this off with. Just pop it back in, lay it back down, and we'll tighten it back up. Okay, air filter's in and secured. All right, let me go grab some tools that I'm going to need. Going to need a pair of pliers and vice grips so I can clamp off that fuel line so it doesn't dump my entire tank of fuel all over the ground. So, hey, stick with me, I'll be right back. So as you can see, I've clamped the fuel line off pretty well. With a pair of vice grips. Like I said, I just don't want to dump the, I don't even know if, shoot, might not even have any gas in it. Yeah, it's got almost a full tank in it. So, I don't want to dump all that fuel all over the ground. So, I just went ahead and clamp that fuel line off. We'll run that clamp back, pop this hose off. There'll be of course, there'll be a little bit of fuel that comes out. That's to be expected. Ugh. There we go. All right, now there is, I know it'll be hard to see on camera, but there is actually an arrow on this for fuel flow, so make sure you put this in the right way. Okay, so the arrow points this direction, so you want to make sure you put this side on the tank side, this side on the carburetor side, or in this case on the fuel pump side. So as you can see, nice part, like I said, the nice part about doing that vice grip on the fuel line is the fact that it doesn't allow fuel to spill all over the place and make a mess. So I'm going to change this clamp out because this is one, looks like one of the original ones. Maybe not. I may change that one. But we got some fancy new clamps to put on. Get your clamp back in place and make sure you remove those vice grips, because if you don't, this thing is never going to start. Alright, I have the I've got the shutoff valve in the off position because I'm going to go ahead and change the fuel filter next. We'll take you on over on that side and get you up in there and so you can see what's going on. So hang on just a second, let me get you moved. Like I said, if y'all remember, I got all these parts off of Amazon, and of course I'll drop the links below. So you got them. I know you're wondering about costs. I'll go over that again at the end of the video. But if you're curious while we're moving along here, and I know you're probably glad that I'm not saying anything because apparently I talk too much in the videos. So, but anyway, if you're curious, I think the tune-up kit was about 20 bucks, and the new starter was I think it was about $43 or so. So I mean, if you want to contrast that to what it would cost you to take this mower in and get it serviced, that's a huge amount of money you're saving. Trust me. I mean, what is this whole thing taking me? Maybe the new starter and figuring out that I missed a wire and, you know, new shut-off valve and a fuel filter. This whole thing's taking me about a half an hour. So just think of the money you're saving yourself. All right, stick with me. Let me get these spark plugs in, and that'll be the last of it for today. Got my handy dandy spark plug socket on there. I've already got the other plugs. I've got the new plugs out and ready to go on. We'll call those properly gapped. I didn't even think about it. The mower's 3 years old. I probably should have went ahead and ordered a new. Probably should have went ahead and ordered a new fuel pump for it, just because it's 3 years old and it's got how many hours on it? Oh, let's see. 120? Yeah, 122 hours on it. Probably should have ordered a fuel pump for it. Didn't even think about it. Kind of one of those things I guess you don't think about until it doesn't work anymore, and then you got to put one on it. And there's probably nothing wrong with these spark plugs. There's probably only 50 hours on them or so. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with them whatsoever. We might save those for spares in case the need should ever arise. Always make sure you start these spark plugs by hand. Please don't shove them in a wrench and start cranking them in. That's a bad practice to get into. I know we get in a hurry And of course, if you don't have a spark plug socket, that's okay. Any 13/16 socket will work. So I run them in by hand as far as I can, because if you cross thread these things, you know what I always say, once you cross thread that head, and it's, you know, it's all over but the crying, because then it is going to be a trip to the Husqvarna dealership for some engine work. So, all right, so that one's in. Bring it over on the other side here. All right. So, and the other thing you want to be careful of when you're taking these spark plug boosts off, make sure you turn them a little bit and get them loosened up. You don't want to break them. Ooh, man, that one don't want to come off there. There we go. With the heat of the engine, those spark plug boots will get stuck on there, and if you rip them, you end up having to put a new coil, at least a new spark plug order on. But a lot of times the spark plug layer is part of the coil itself, so you'll end up having to change that as well. So just save yourself some money there. Take a few seconds and break that loose. And like I said, I'm gonna save these old spark plugs because they really don't look all that bad. They look pretty good, as a matter of fact. The mower's burning nice and clean. And I almost forgot to do it, and I'm sitting here looking at it, and I'm going to do it while I'm thinking about it. As soon as I get this spark plug out of here. There we go. I've still got the fuel valve turned off, so I'm going to go ahead and turn that on just to make sure I don't forget it, because, you know, I'm old and more than likely I'd forget it and then be cursing at it when it didn't start. Like I said, make sure you start these by hand. And please, 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 I know the temptation is there to get an air ratchet out and run these things back in. Don't do it, please. No need for it. Take a few extra seconds, do them by hand. There we go. All right, so that is started. And it is actually to the point where it's touching where the crush washer is touching the head. So it'll just be there we go. And no need to get a 1/2-inch breaker bar out and 3-foot pipe to tighten these spark plugs down. No need for it at all. Hand tight is good. All right, and that is that. So. One thing I did forget to mention, and I mean, it's, you know, I want to make sure I give you as much information as I can. One thing I did forget to mention is the fuel filter, just like the shutoff valve, is also directional, so make sure you put that in the right direction. Wider end always goes toward the fuel pump. Narrower end is the inlet, and that goes back toward the fuel tank. So that is that. Let's go ahead and get all this stuff off and fire it up and make sure it runs. And does. Excellent. All right, got fuel in the fuel filter, which I didn't before, so I'm wondering if that old shutoff valve was starting to plug up. I mean, they're plastic, and you know, I paid $20 for the whole kit, so there's that. But all right, let me get this thing buttoned up. and please make sure you get out and work on something. Like I said, with a couple of sockets, what did I use? A 12mm socket, an 11mm wrench, and a 13/16 spark plug socket, and a pair of pliers. I did this entire job, and I just checked the phone. I've got about 30 minutes of video, so maybe it took me 45 minutes to do this all total, with having to find that wire that I missed. And hey, that happens. And I mean, look, I've been doing this a long time. I'm, been working on cars and equipment a long time, and even I missed that wire. So it can happen. Don't let it frustrate you. Just go back and check your steps like I did. Hey, welcome back. Clearly a couple of days later, we've gotten the rest of the parts in for the zero turn, so we're going to finish this project up. I need to put in a fuel pump. Like I said, nothing wrong with it, just that it's 3 years old. It's got about 130 hours on it. So, we're just going to throw it on as kind of a maintenance item. I think it was under $10 on Amazon without shipping, or without tax, I should say. So got the new fuel pump. Also got another fuel filter. So I have several extra fuel filters for it. Got a couple of fuel filters in the tune-up kit when I got that too. And then the other thing we're going to put on is the new starter solenoid. Put a new starter in it in the first part of this video, and I still was doing the clicking thing. Of course, now that I've got the new starter solenoid, it's starting right up every time. Isn't that the way my luck always goes? But anyway, so that's what we're going to do today, and if I can find some oil laying around here, we're going to go ahead and change the oil on it, and that'll finish up this video. So let me get the camera resituated, and I'll be right back. This is what we replaced. This is a fuel pump, so fairly not too many steps to do this. There's 2 screws that hold it to the motor. We'll get them off because, of course, the clamps that hold all the fuel lines in are all facing toward the motor, and I can't get to them without taking the fuel pump off first, naturally. Again, that's just the way my luck goes. So, took 2 screws out. That takes care of that. I've already shut off the fuel shut-off valve so that hopefully we don't get a whole ton of fuel draining out of here. And we'll get these clamps set back a little bit. Maybe. That one's a little tighter. There we go. Got that one. And that one. So in the kit, in the fuel pump kit that I got off Amazon, it comes with the new fuel pump, some new clamps, which we'll definitely put on because these are all original, and new fuel filter. So we'll save the fuel filter for another time if we need it. Go ahead and pop these lines off. Not much chance of mixing them up, but just keep them separated so you know which way they go when you go to put it back on. And like I said, we're going to go ahead and put new clamps on it while we got this apart. Just because they come in the kit. So, like I said, there's 3 hoses, so you'll put 3 new clamps on. Four come in the kit. That one did not make the trash can. 2 for 3. 66% average from the field, so not too bad. All right. So make sure you have the right orientation. Number 1. There we go. All right. Second hose. And the third hose. All the hoses are in place. Look at this final clamp in place. There we go. Alright, can't really see this bottom mounting hole very well. There we go. And that's going to do it. That is in. I will go ahead and turn the fuel back on. And drop this other vent line from the gas tank back down where it was. And that's it. So, like I said, pretty simple install. Took me about, I don't know, maybe 5 minutes or so. So, that's it for that. Let me get the camera resituated, and we'll tackle this starter solenoid. Starter solenoid is up under here. Mounts from the bottom, so that's going to be fun. Not. So just to be on the safe side, for this particular repair, I went ahead and disconnected the negative side of the battery because we're going to be. I don't want to shoot sparks all over the place. Not worth it. Took me 2 seconds to get that battery bolt off. So as you can see on this one, it kind of hooks in on this side, and then there's a nut and bolt that goes down on the other side. So that's we'll get that nut and bolt off of there first, and then there's going to be 2 battery wires on there. One that goes from the battery to the relay, and then from the relay to the starter. And excuse me. And then there'll be 2 other wires on there that will come from the ignition switch. So, all right, let's get this bad boy out of here. Let's see how tight this is going to be. Seems like we got. All right, looks like we need to pop these wire looms out of here. Get a little hammer and take those out. All right, well, maybe not such a little hammer, but hammer nonetheless. There we go. All right, so all that did was just give me some more room to work on this a little bit easier. Get it down where I can see it. There we go. All right, so like I said, there's 2 battery wires, and then on the flip side of this, I'm not sure you'll be able to see it. There's 2 trigger wires that come from the ignition switch and another source. I'm not sure where the other one comes from, but those are the 2 trigger wires. So lets the ignition switch know, or lets the relay know that the ignition switch is in the start position, and to send voltage to the battery, to the starter. So, all right, let's get these off. Looks like we got lots of wires on here. And the trick I always use when I'm doing electrical work, if you're not sure where the wires go or where they came off of, or if you don't, you think maybe, I'm not sure where that wire goes, where did I take that off? Hey, don't be afraid to take a picture of it with your camera on your phone. And that way you'll know for sure. Alright, we got one. So it looks like there's 2 wires on one side of the relay and just one on the other side. And actually, the nice part about it is they use the same size nuts. I don't know if that's gonna hold true for the new relay as well, but at least on the old relay, the battery bolts and the bolts for the terminals on the battery terminals on the relay are all the same size. They're all 7/16, so that helps. Don't have to be running around looking for nuts, looking for different size wrenches. So, all right. So we just got these other 2 trigger wires to pop off of there, and I'm sure they're going to come right off without problem. Oh, actually they did. All right. Yellow is on the right. Black's on the left. And we'll file that under important parts. Or what many of you refer to as circular file. Or at least what I refer to as circular file anyway. Alright, let's see. I'm going to check to see if the nuts that I took off the old relay are the same thread. Because if they are, I'm going to go ahead and reuse them because they're lock nuts. And I won't have to worry about the lock washers falling apart or falling down underneath the mower, never to be seen again. So it does appear that they are the same thread pitch. So I will reuse them. Starter side of the wire back on. Starter wire, starter. Yeah, easy for me to say. The battery cable for the starter side back on. And of course, if I had any kind of forethought, I would have grabbed an air ratchet and used an air ratchet on this, but I didn't. Okay, got that side back on. Those 2 tight. Covers back on. Protect those terminals. There we go. two wire looms back in, wire loom holders back into the seat frame where they were, and that is it. I will just hook up the battery and we'll give it a shot, make sure it works. So stick around, let me get that battery hooked back up again, and we'll try and fire it up, see what happens. Stick with. We've got everything back together, and I am going to go ahead and fire this thing up, see if it runs, make sure that everything works, hopefully. Also going to check and make sure I have no fuel leaks. And everything looks good. Perfect. So, fairly good possibility that it was the relay all along, but it was acting like a bad starter, so that's why I put a starter in it. But anyway, would have been easy enough to check. I could have hit the key and see if there was power at the starter. If there was power at the starter, then I would have known it was a starter, but I was being lazy, and it cost me a $45 starter. So, moral of the story to that is, don't be lazy. Check and verify. Anyway, but did we hurt anything by putting a new starter in it? Of course not. Absolutely not. So, but everything's all buttoned up, and we are ready to go. So, as luck would have it, I don't have any of the correct weight oil for the mower, so we'll just plan that for another day. But that's going to do it for this video. So let's just sum up what we did. We did a tune-up, maintenance tune-up, did new plugs, new fuel filter, new fuel shutoff valve, new air filter. So I got it all tuned up, and put a new fuel filter, new fuel pump in it as a precautionary measure, just a maintenance measure. There was nothing wrong with it. It was running fine. And a new starter solenoid. It was still clicking after I put the starter in it every so often, so just to be on the safe side, went ahead and put the starter solenoid in it. So all total, I want to say the tune-up kit was $20 some ish. The starter was about $45. The fuel pump was $9, and I think the starter relay was right around that same range, maybe $11 if I remember correctly. Of course, I'll drop links to all the parts I used below, so you can check it out and see the exact prices. And I mean, all total, what did it take me? About an hour and a half. And to do this amount of work and take it someplace, take it to a mower shop, a mower repair shop, small engine repair shop, would have cost you $400 probably, minimum. No, gosh, no. Probably even more than that. So, saved a ton of money. Did it myself. It took me about an hour and a half with basic hand tools: spark plug socket, ratchet, Allen wrench, 7/16 socket, and a Phillips head screwdriver. It was pretty simple, and a pair of pliers. So it was really simple to do. And like I said, it only took me about an hour and a half. But that's going to do it for this video. I sincerely hope you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed making it for you. I've had a ton of fun, as always, and I hope I've inspired you to get out in that garage and work on your own stuff, whatever it is. Weed eater, I've done a ton of them, ton of lawn care stuff. I've done a ton of it. So don't forget, next project we got coming up. Of course, we still got the Trans Am sitting in the wings waiting patiently, that I haven't gotten to, but. Next project coming up, we've got the Honda that we just picked up, so look forward to that video as well. But I do appreciate you watching and subscribing and liking and sharing more than you'll ever know. That helps the analytics, so I really appreciate it. So make sure you're doing all those things all the time, and as always, find me on social medias: YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram at The Retired Guys Garage, and most recently on X at TRGG2024. You can also email me if you need to. Love to hear from you, and always drop comments below. Love to read them. I read them all, and I respond to them as I can. But if you want to email me, the email address is trgg2024 at gmail.com. Appreciate you watching. Thank you so much, and can't wait to see you at the next video. Until then, Y'all be safe and take care.